Now, this is very exciting. This morning, I have an interview with Paige Hamilton from the band Helmet. I'm very excited. Hopefully, it goes well. It'd be terrible if you were shit.
Oh no, we'll try our best to be interesting. So
Mate,
I'm
I'm more impressed that you're a punctual rock star. Look at you, bang on time.
I have to. Yeah, I have to be. I have that's glaring right in my eyes. Yeah, I'm juggling like a million things right now, and just got home from really kind of recovering from the holidays. Today's like day one, so
Oof.
kind of. I took an extra week to just fuck off and kind of get reoriented. So if you hear an alarm go off, it's just my laundry.
So basically, Paige, what you're telling me is that I'm setting the tone for your entire year.
This better be a good interview.
Wow. I think we're good. I think we're good. Um, so first of all, this is a fucking treat, mate, because obviously I'm 37 years old, so I grew up. I was
Oh,
a
cool.
90s child, man. So Helmet, holy shit, this is awesome.
Nice. Cool.
And
We
I am,
love we
I am,
love Brisbane.
yeah. Well, speaking of Australia, mate, I am. Look, everyone missed out on a lot in 2020. All the concert cancellations really sucked. I had tickets to, Deftones, Ministry, all of these, but the one that hurt the most was your set. I
Oh,
was, oh, devastated. So I'm so happy. First of all, thank you for not just writing it off, going, oh, that didn't happen. Like, thank you so much for coming down. Like,
oh, hey, believe me, it was hard on us. It's been hard on us. I was just actually texting with a friend of mine up in San Francisco who got COVID, and I was telling her about when I had COVID in June and canceling yet another tour. And I think we've booked the Australia New Zealand run. I think this is the fourth time. So it was because it was 2020. I want to say it was in April 2020, and then we moved it to fall 2020. Then we moved it to spring 2021, I believe, February or March, and then yeah. So and finally now. So it's a couple of years later. So I've always threatened my family that I might never come back to the United States of America because I love Australia, just love it. I mean, I have great friends there. I have great good friends in South Australia and Melbourne, obviously, and in Perth.
yeah.
And yeah, I don't really have anybody in Brizzy. I'm an ex-bandmate lives there, but we're not. We have no contact, so it's better that way. It's sad, but it's kind of the way it's the way he conducted himself. So yeah, we don't have any contact. I saw him 10 years ago, maybe. He came up and played with us, did a couple of songs. And yeah, that's the last time I saw him. But I haven't spoken with the other original bandmates, John or Henry, in a longer time. So just kind of the way it goes. I got to clean my glasses; they're filthy.
Yeah, I have a bit of a connection to John Stanier in that one of my favorite Australian bands, the Mark of Cain, drummed with him for many, many years. And
those
I
are those are great dudes. I love that band, man. Very cool. We kind of met them together and kind of because they opened up for us in I think it was in Sydney. They may have done a few shows with us though. Are they Sydney based or Melbourne based?
they are based in Adelaide, I believe. So
Oh
they're
yeah. Oh right. Duh. That's right. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. That's
yeah,
cool. Yeah. I love that band. Yeah, no, Stanier's amazing, man. He's I love the kid. It's just sad that sometimes when you're in a band with people, it's like a divorce. I don't speak with my ex-wife. Haven't spoken to her since 2006, and I haven't spoken to John Henry for I don't even know how long. Henry the longest since 1998. No, 97 technically. Yeah. So right when we broke up, my ex-wife and I saw him at the airport in New York. He was heading to Oregon, and we were heading to Oregon. and he just gave us a dirt. We are like, hey, Henry, and he walked by us and gave us a dirty look. We were like, okay, Merry Christmas.
Uh, it's funny
What are
though.
you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I've had many conversations with people that I admire that have been in the music business for much longer than me. One of them is Danny Korchmar. He's a great guitarist, producer, produced Don Henley and Billy Joel, and worked with everyone from Jackson Browne to Joni Mitchell to you name it. One of my heroes, and we became friends because he's a huge Helmet fan. And he said, Paige, it's just the nature of being a band leader. Everybody, your bandmates all think you're an asshole, and it's just the way it is. And I'm like, yeah, it's. I actually had coffee with David Byrne after the band broke up because my manager managed him for 17 years, and he kind of said the same thing. He's just like, there's nothing you can do about it. It's you can't please everyone. Like, bands break up all the time, and the good news is we didn't have any conflicts like the Pantera guys did, and that was one of the saddest things I ever. Oh shit! Yeah, nice. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love those guys. How do you feel? How do you feel about the? I mean, I know this. We're interviewing me, but how do you feel about this thing they're doing?
no, mate. Look, I'm really glad you asked. So obviously, I was a huge fan. That they literally, when I was 10 years old, I heard Primal Concrete Sledge, and I was ruined forever. Like that was me done.
You heard
Uh,
which album?
that was Primal Concrete Sledge, which is the second track on Cowboys from Hell, and
Got it.
I had just never heard a guitar just that. It's just what the guitar is a percussive instrument,
Yeah,
and
man.
was a huge fan. So obviously when it went south, and it's part of the reason why the demise of Pantera really informed how I conduct myself as a music writer, because I refuse to get bands to start, to stir up shit and just, I just think
Yeah,
that's incredibly negative and counterproductive. So we literally have our little mission statement is, media without drama or music without drama.
yeah,
Like, we fucking hate that shit. So when I
yeah.
was
I
going,
agree. I agree. It's unnecessary.
yeah,
It's just
uh,
music.
I got to see, I was too young to ever see Pantera live, but I got to see Phil Anselmo with the Illegals in 2019, and obviously the latter half of their set was all Pantera, and it was amazing. Like,
Oh, cool.
it is exhilarating, and so honestly, man, I'm fucking down with it. I'm a huge fan of Phil, and yeah, he's still got it. The band still sounds amazing. The drummer, like Christ, it sounds like Vinnie Paul. Yeah, that snare that sounds like a
Cool.
shotgun. Like,
That's good
so,
to hear.
and if you ever need, honestly, man, jump on YouTube and look at the footage of Knotfest in Chile when Pantera are playing. It is literally, there are about 20 circle pits in this during Cowboys from Hell. Like, it's people as far as you can see. It's just
Wow.
insanity. So for
That's
all the people
that's
bitching
awesome.
online,
That's good.
it doesn't
I'm
matter.
I'm I'm friendly with I'm just drawing a blank. I've been running around all day. Fuck, what the fuck, Charlie?
Mhm.
Because of the Anthrax, they've always been super supportive of Helmet and stuff, and he's great. He's a great drummer, So that's. I don't know Zach at all. I've never met him. I know Phil and Rex. We hung out way back when they first discovered Helmet and we first discovered Pantera, and so we had some great times. Some Wild Turkey and other stuff that was really fun. So they're good dudes. That's cool.
Yeah,
But
time. I've never heard about, like, the man was the life of the fucking party. Like, it was, yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, man, yeah.
So, mate, you have been teaching guitar for many years. I wonder, I'm loving the fact that, if I played guitar, I could literally get a Skype lesson from the guy from Helmet. I wonder what what do you get the most out of this? Like, what keeps you teaching guitar, and how many of them are just Helmet fanboys who want to essentially an hour to hang out with you?
Yeah, it's really, I really love it, genuinely love it. I'm a nerd. I still practice, and I have, like, before the 2019 tour, the 30-30-30 tour that we were supposed to be doing in Australia in 2020. We I had a 6 day a week practice regimen, and I do my super chops, by the Howard Roberts and Gary Hagberg, my two mentors, super chops, and I work on scales and arpeggios, and I work on uh, you know, sorry, chord melody and chord voicing and jazz tunes a lot. So I have like a regimen that I do. And so many years ago, John Stowell, another hero of mine, a jazz guitarist from Portland, Oregon, said, "Paige, you need to be sharing, sharing with people, like teaching, showing people, because you have a very unique approach to music. You have a jazz love of jazz, but you play heavy music." And he's kind of the one that got me thinking about it, and I've had people ask me before, and I never really had the time. Well, the pandemic hit and everything was canceled. And a dear friend of mine, Tracy Wiedemann, who's like tour manager extraordinaire for everyone from Ziggy Marley to Styx and the Heart and stuff, she said, "I can help you with that." So she set up set it up for me. So all I had to do was just show up. When somebody said 12 o'clock on a Monday, I'm like, here I am. And I'm finding there are a lot of the fanboys, as you call them. Some of them just want to learn Helmet songs, but others want to learn Helmet songs, and then what I see is the sort of theory behind it. And so I've been reverse engineering a lot. Like, I've been looking at a song like Sinatra, and I know I know you can move, intervals in thirds, major, minor thirds, and you're going to get, harmonies. And so I would apply that, but I came up with this weird voicing because I heard this sound in my head. I heard this chord, and it was all open strings with the B string tuned up to a D, and it was that sus vibe, like a suspended vibe. And so I came up with these voicings. So I kind of, part of me ignored the rules and part of me applied the rules. And I think that's what I get to people. Like, if you have a foundation, a musical foundation, you're probably gonna come up with, more interesting ideas than guys that are like, and I'm not saying whatever, like, just learning solos and songs from other bands is not a good thing. It's a great thing. And I do that as well. But I think, like, kind of trying to show people how I develop my vocabulary, because it's very unique. Our vocabulary is unique. Like, we use chord voicings that nobody uses ever and never has. You know what I mean? And that comes from, my love of jazz improv and experimentation and trying different things out. And everybody has, every great guitar player has a vocabulary and has a style that's recognizable. You know what I mean? And Dime actually, get to Pantera, Dime said to me, what couple of cool things. One was like, "I told you were going to influence me," because they did that song that was the unsung riff off Vulgar Display. And I go, "I'm flattered, man. It's awesome." And the other thing he said, he's like, and I said, "Look, I'm not a shredder. I have, I kind of like, I'm a idiot. Like, I have some technique, but I also love noise and feedback." And he's like, I can hear the theory. I can hear the music behind what you're doing." He got it. He totally got Helmet. He got my guitar playing as well. And other people like Tommy Victor from Prong is a friend. We toured together, and he said, "Man, I'm going to try to approach solos the way you do, because it's not just like, here's a key center, let's play pentatonic licks, or let's play scales, scales, or apply, like, show stuff that I've practiced, because I want to, like, free myself from that. I work on it, practice and play, and then when it comes time to play, I forget about it. I just go and I play. And so I try to impress that upon people. Theory is not a dirty word. You shouldn't be afraid. It's what it will do is you'll develop this foundation, and you'll never run out of ideas. I feel like I could do this until the day I drop dead, and I'm writing a piece for orchestra right now for brass, woodwinds, 2 double basses, and percussion. And it's for the 150th anniversary of the oldest high school orchestra in America. And that is exciting to me. And when I do that, it's still music. When I come back to Helmet, I'm approaching it in the kind of the same way musically. You know what I mean? Not like I got a rock or whatever. You know, it's been fun. I have some really great students, and some of them have actually become very good friends. You know, like hey, I'm going to be in LA. Let's have dinner. I'm like, yeah, and which is cool. Like there's a guy in Portland, Abe. There's a guy in London, Nick. There's a guy in Boise, Bo. That like I produced an album for these guys in Boise because he loved the lessons, and after a year I saw the progress he was making. That to me is exciting. If you do the work, you will absolutely get better, and your music will get better. And I don't approach it like shred guy, like guitar hero. I approach it like all of these guys are songwriters. Really, they all have bands. I have a band and we're doing whatever, so they want to write music, and that's what I do. I'm not a virtuoso, so to speak. I'm a composer first, and a singer. So that's kind of fun. It's been fun too. Some of the guys like are doing vocal things, and so I'm coaching them on their vocal stuff, because I used to think singing is just going for it, man. Just give it all your emotion. And then as I started to progress, and I worked with a guy here in LA, Mark Rank. He's like, well, you have naturally very strong diaphragm, so I have a lot of volume, and you can. And I said, I can't sing above this note. He's like, you can. And I'm like, no, I can't. And he's like, let me show you. And so I learned how to use your voice as an instrument. And last year I sang on the biggest Netflix franchise movie of all time, The Kissing Booth. And it's like a teen romantic comedy. And everybody's like, the director, Vince, who's I'm friendly with because I played guitar on the first two, Kissing Booth 1, 2, and then 3. He's like, that's Paige? It's like, it's like, yeah, I can sing pretty. Helmet is a different thing. You know what I mean? I like the aggressive, rhythmic kind of approach to vocals. So all these things are things that you can practice and improve and get better, and get better. And I think like one of my students in Philly, Joe, who I really love, really good dude, and I met his wife and daughters. They came to the Helmet Show in Philly in 2019, and he's got a band and he's writing songs, and he's like, I'm just stale right now. I need to get back into kind of improving as a musician, and that's my approach: improving people as musicians, and turning them on to just different ways of thinking. Because I think I don't know. I think a lot of bands, when we met Pantera, we were opening for Melvin's at the 7th Street entry in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And they were opening for Prom. And I had never heard of them. I had no idea who they were. So I went and I watched Mind Over 4, the first band. And then I watched Pantera. And I was just like, what? It was the Cowboys from Hell tour. Like, what the fuck? Like, wow. I've never heard music like this. It's not metal. It's metal, but it's its own thing. You know what I mean? They were perfect. They were just phenomenal. So then the way it worked is in the big room, two bands would play, and then the opening band would play in the small room. So we played after that. And I said something to them in the mic. I said, I don't know if you guys heard that band Pantera, but holy shit, that was amazing. And then I hear this, thanks. And I look down, and the whole band's in front of me. And they're in hoodies and going off, and they flipped on Helmet and I flipped on Pantera. And so they ended up buying cassette tapes or whatever we were selling at the time. And we meet them in Dallas, and they're working on Vulgar Display, and they're playing us demos in the parking lot at Trees. And that's when Dime told me that I influenced him, and Phil and I had a phone conversation about it, because Pepper Keenan from COC said, oh, you're ripping Helmet off. And so I was really, I'm flattered that a band that great would be turned on by what we do. That to me, that's like, and then all I want to do is show people maybe how I arrived at what we do. You know what I mean? It's not just like a lot of bands just like, hey, we drop tune and we just rock. I'm like, okay, that's cool, but it's more than that. It's rhythm. It's understanding rhythm and trying to. I do stupid shit like I sit around and I'll be like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What? So I'm playing 5, 4 in my right hand, 4, 4 in my left hand. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm trying to combine rhythms. You know what I mean? Obviously, 3 against 4 is super common. You know, no, that's 7. That's 7 against 4. You know, and like that is way more interesting than everything being snapped to some grid and in 4/4. It's still 4/4, but it's 4/4 like, you know, AC/DC Highway to Hell would approach 4/4. I'm going to play this riff. Phil plays the riff in unison with the guitars, the second verse coming in, and you're like, what? That feels weird. Why does it feel so good? You know what I mean? Like that, because they had AC/DC is phenomenal at that. They were so fucking good. Like there's a Bad Boy Boogie, the live version of Bad Boy Boogie when it's just Angus and Malcolm. Malcolm is playing all kinds of these, like, you know, it's called hemiola. It's like playing, you know, riff, like it'd be like a dotted quarter note in 4/4 gives you 3 against 4. So it's just like bam, 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 da, 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 1, 2, and 3, 2, 2, and 3. So he's playing that groove, and Angus is riffing, and it's just like, you know, and that I always absorbed all that stuff. I think because I grew up on, I play guitar because of Led Zeppelin, Aerosmith, and AC/DC, and Sabbath. I got into Sabbath, and then my buddies in the dorms were priests, all about staying class and stuff, and I liked it. But for me, there was something about that heavier stuff that I liked more. I think, you know, AC/DC is just so heavy. They're just, and bad musicians think AC/DC is stupid, and it's like I've never met a great musician who, you know, and like mediocre musicians. I talked to this girl in Italy. We were friends, we became friends, and we were kind of flirting on text. And yeah, I like you too. Yeah, you seem pretty cool. She's like, who's your favorite band? I was like, AC/DC. She's like, no, what? And I'm like, yeah, they're fucking perfect. It's a Highway to Hell and Power Age are perfect. Like, you can't do rock music better than that, right? And anyone that I know that's great, you know, like was reading a Paul McCartney interview, and they were asking him about loud music and rock, and he goes, I really like AC/DC. And I'm like, yeah, see, that's Paul fucking McCartney, you know. So like, anyway, long-winded. There's my, you know, giving lessons. What I'm trying to do is I approach it as music, not, you know, there are theoretical things, but it's music. And we reverse engineer the way we figured out these scales were by listening to Bach and going, what is he doing here? You know, he's playing in D major, and then he's introducing a G sharp, which will get us into A major. You know what I mean? Like, just, and it's amazing how advanced he was. And he was, you know, he was dead in 1750, you know. And it's like, I think a lot of rock bands, a lot of it I get bored with, because I'm like, do something, you know, really, this has been done, like, do something, you know. And it's so yeah, that's it's fun. I have a couple students tomorrow. One kid is about 14. He was so cute the first lesson. He's like, I was at when you guys played an Aftershock in the fall in Sacramento. He goes, I was there. And I'm like, awesome. He goes, did you see me? I was crowd surfing. And I'm like, yeah, there were 8,000 people. And I'm like, I said, and I was like, yeah, maybe. I think I remember you.
Oh,
So fucking cute. And you're just like, dude, that's awesome. Do you remember me? And he's good. He's going to be a great guitar player because he works. He likes it. He's, you know, and then I have another student who's a songwriter. He's all about his songwriting. He's in Portland, Oregon. And he's got a cool thing going, you know what I mean? So it's fun. It's really fun. It's a good time. I do way more work than most guitar teachers. Like I'm a composition student in London, England, Nick. He's studying composition with me. He's like, Paige, I have a book. Like I could do a book with all the material you've sent me, because I'll think of something and then I want to write it out so they can they can see it. And since most guitar players don't read notation, I write it out on these fretboard diagrams, and I'll write notation. I say, just look at the way this looks on the staff, and you'll understand why that you can substitute a three chord for a one chord, or a six chord for a one. You'll understand, because you see visually, oh, they have all these same notes, these notes in common. You know what I mean? And that to me is really interesting and exciting. It's when I was producing Gavin Rossdale's record, he had this, I forget which song it was, but this chorus, and it was the same every time. And I was like the third time, how about if we change this chord and just go here? I just did this with a band in Brazil. I produced a track for a band in Brazil when we just played Sao Paulo. And it's little stuff like that, like knowing a chord substitution, or knowing that you can sing the same melody and the chord could be, you know, X, Y, or Z. You know what I mean? That stuff makes, you know, is exciting. And I you know, I like doing that. I love producing too, believe it or not. It's really fun. It's frustrating, but it's fun, you know. I'm gonna get a beverage. I'll be right back.
Yeah, you do it.
All right. We got a great rainy day in Los Angeles. I love it.
Rain in LA? Heavens.
Raining, I know. Isn't it great? It's great.
I have a bit of irony for you. As you were saying you were just going to go get a beer, as of this year, March this year, I will actually be 5 years sober. So I was I was a shocking alcoholic, and I actually went to rehab. And one of the things that most people do, you, by the way, feel free to keep drinking.
Sorry, yeah.
One of the, you know, obviously fitness and, you know, getting back into things, and I would go for a run every day. And the first song on that run playlist was So Long by you guys. And so you can imagine I'm starting my run at rehab every day with the line, just kicked all my vices.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. I'm a total liar, because I haven't kicked all my vices, but the, you know, the idea was in the song, and that's about my lovely ex-wife, who's a amazing woman, actually. But just, it was hard, you know. Relationships are hard, and I suck. I really do. I'm just terrible to be in a relationship with. It's she's amazing, but yeah, that notion that crises, that you know, everything is turned into a crisis is big in life. You know, it's something that because I feel like I live by a couple of things. One is count your blessings, which is kind of Christian. The other is life is short, which is kind of Buddhist. And then my dad got cancer, and I added, it's not life or death unless it's life or death. And I think in the Western world, anyway, I can't speak for, you know, other you know, cultures, but we have a tendency to lose sight of our mortality, and of what matters and what's important. And it's why human beings are so cruel to one another, and I just refuse to live like that. And I think that idea in that song was kind of, you know, poking fun at myself and my weaknesses and my flaws, which are many, and you know, and then I kind of see it in a more universal way. And that's how most songs kind of start for me, I think. You know, I'll think about something, and it might be a personal experience or not, you know. And then, you know, early on though, I was just doing these, like after Strap It On, when I got into Meantime and Betty, I had this thing. I was like, everything's gonna be, you know, referring to something that refers to something that refers to something. It's gonna be removed so far from any narrative that I'm just gonna create these lyrical kind of collages, if that makes sense. And it was all about the rhythm and the approach, and then a collection of images. You know, I was just into at the time. I think part of it, I did an interview a couple weeks ago on a guy, and it was like, what were you thinking when you were in that world? I'm like, what I was thinking was, everyone was all into the singer-songwriter thing, you know, that kind of indie, what is it, indie rock folk country thing that got super popular in the 90s, about the time that Helmet was around. It was all like, oh, he's a singer-songwriter, and I'm just like, yeah, really? Like, do I need to hear C, G, and D again? And then like, and then it's, I don't know. And I was like, I want to be the anti-songwriter. That really, I said that. I was like, I'm the anti-songwriter. I'm not. I'm making music that is 100% me. You know what I mean? And that. So, but as I kind of started working, then Dave Sardi was really great in helping me kind of, I don't know, get back to where it's like, okay, it's okay to have a narrative in your song. It's okay to have it be personal. It's okay to, you know, you can still, you know, have a collection of images, but, you know, what the fuck are you singing about? So it's, you know, and Sardi is a great songwriter. So that like, you know, that helped. Just bouncing lyric ideas off of him and stuff. And really, that was kind of, because Aftertaste was the beginning of me kind of, you know, just you know, transforming as a songwriter. I mean, I think it should be a goal of writers to do something different, you know, to not repeat yourself, you know, and to try stuff. Sometimes you're gonna shit the bed. I mean, you're gonna try something and like, but you gotta make up your mind and do it, and then see what happens. You know what I mean? And if you you know, the process is what's important. And if you apply, you know, you've worked and practiced, you've read books, you've read poems, you've practiced guitar, you've practiced singing, you know, you work on all those things, but hopefully by the time you sit down to write, this will have influenced what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like it's I think all great composers were constantly working, you know, at that, and songwriters too. I'm envious of people like Elvis Costello, who he just seems to have like an endless well of musical ideas, and he's done so many albums and so many songs. I'm like, God, we haven't put out an album in 6 years. You know what I mean? I've been writing music and working on my jazz stuff and doing other things, but we're going to do a Helmet album this year. I think we're going to record. My goal is to record before we fly down under. That's what I'm hoping for. So
Wow.
Yeah, we'll see. Still kind of wrangling. A lot of it's been the business, the record company. I've been asking my manager for like 4 years, hey, I want to make another record. Well, the label, you know, they didn't make enough money, and I'm like, but we have a record deal. I want to make a record, you know. So it's kind of frustrating. It's not being like a, you know, massive sales band that has songs all over the radio, you know, which was never my goal, you know, in the first place. But they knew who they were signing when they signed us. So hopefully they'll you know, they'll come through. So if not, I'll figure something else out, you know. I'll sell my 1970 orange amp.
You won't do that. Zoom is going to kick me off in about 6 minutes, so I thought might just finish with a question. Obviously, you're famous for, you know, a lot of really great riffs. You know, Milk Toast, Unsung, all of this great stuff. I wonder, what do you think was some of the best, your favorite riffs of the 90s?
Oh boy, I always loved Tick. It's there's something about that space and it going kind of a minor major, you know. So, you know, da 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 da, you know, third fret, da 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 da, fourth fret. You know, so you're like F to F sharp, that kind of thing. There's something about the feel. And then I had those chords for the chorus, and I said, Henry, make this like a bass solo, play a rolling line. And he came up with that amazing line. And I superimposed a chord on top of that, that clashes, but only clashes momentarily because he's moving so much. And so I always love playing that. From the 90s, we're sticking to the 90s as well. Well, meantime, I mean, come on, like that's like one of my, you know, favorite. It's like one note basically, and going against the grain. So there's your yeah, da 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 da. 1 2 3 1 2 3 da 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 da. You know, 1 2 3 1 2 3 da 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 ba da ba da ba da ba da ba da 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 da. Just like because they're grooving for ba da 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 ba da da da. You know, that was just so much fun, and it's so much fun to play. And actually live, I can't do the vocal and play the riff at the same time, so I lay out and I come in on the chorus, which is really frustrating because I love playing that riff. But I just did it with a middle school in Nashville, Tennessee. I was a guest performer, and the kids did the song, and it was really, really fun. Yeah. Good. I'm trying to think. I always loved the blacktop. Blacktop. You know, that's a similar thing where it's like, you know, got. That's exactly what a hemiola is. So that'd be like a dotted quarter note against a 4/4. So, but I'm you know, playing the rhythm in the right hand as well. So it's like gunk 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 that's really fun to play live. That one, Sinatra, simple as can be, but there's something about that, the evil of like a flat 2, you know, the playing like the E flat to the D, is just really fun. That's a fun one to play. Bad Mood, we were rehearsing in the music building in Hell's Kitchen. That was our first kind of big rehearsal space that we, you know, had as a band. We were stale. It wasn't going anywhere. Rehearsal was kind of stale. I don't know what we were working on, but I said, I'll go get coffee for everybody. So I went downstairs to the bodega, got 4 coffees, and I came to, and while I was there, I got this pattern in my head. And it was this repetitive, a lot of my stuff comes as a repetitive, like a subway train track, you know, like ga 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 da 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 da, just like over and over. It's really annoying, but I was like, ooh, I'm gonna put some space in there. And I came up to the band and go, check this out. This is gonna be great. Do do da da do do da do do da da do do da do do da da do do da. And so John came up with that really cool stop start drum beat thing. And that's the first that I remember. I had not heard System of a Down, and we had the same booking agent, and he said, they love Helmet. And I go, oh, cool. So he gave me all their CDs, and I listened to the first song on the first album has that Bad Mood riff. And I was like, I go, cool, man. I like it. I'm trying to think what else, on Wilma. I had that riff in my head for a long time. Like, I don't know why. I get a riff in my head. I'm walking around, or I'm driving, or I'm cooking. I don't even know. And I just have this thing that kind of, I always have that swing in my head. Ba-do da da do da da do da 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 do, that sort of slow ba do da da that feels like 3. And that's a really fun one to play live, and that's kind of gets these people doing this kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, trying to think, you know what, the other one that is, I don't know how the fuck I came up with. There are 2 that are very weird. One is Better, and one is Vaccination. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I really like, because it's like the intro, obviously. It's fucking weird, and that one.
Stop it! You're getting me excited.
Yeah, that one I can actually.
We're about to get kicked off, mate. So
okay.
I'm gonna say goodbye. Thank you so much for your time today, and I will be front fucking row when you guys come to Brisbane. I'm 6'7". You will see me.
Track me down if you can, okay? And say, hey, let's have a beer. Oh yeah, let's have a. Sorry.
We'll have a lemonade. I'll go crazy for you, and I'll have a ginger beer.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, Tom. Great to meet you, sir.
You too, mate.
Take it easy. Take it easy. All right, see you then.